If you're watching this video, you've probably seen a ton of Amazon gurus flexing their results online. You see how much money they're making and you think to yourself, is this too good to be true? In today's world, it's really hard to know whether something is a legitimate opportunity or if someone is just trying to make a quick buck selling you a dream. The truth is, Amazon FBA is an incredible business model. I have made over £550,000 in profit just in the last 3 years, and I'm now consistently making multiple 5 figures in profit every single month. And in this video, I'm going to be going over why I believe Amazon FBA is still worth starting in 2025, who Amazon FBA is for, and how I start if I had to just go back to the beginning and start again. So let's get into it. So let's talk about the number one reason why people say you shouldn't get into Amazon FBA in 2025, and that is oversaturation. So there are 3,700 sellers signing up to Amazon every single day. But the reality is, this just doesn't matter. Amazon is so huge and they take such a huge market share of the e-commerce sector in the UK as well as internationally that there is more than enough space for all of these people to sell and have successful businesses. And I find that this argument just tends to come from people that have entered a really competitive niche, usually where they're launching their own product rather than doing what I do, where I'm just selling other people's branded products that already sell well. And they've tried to launch something just really saturated, like a kitchen spatula, and they've just been completely outbid by other Chinese sellers on the platform that have created these products way cheaper than them. And honestly, it's just really hard to compete nowadays doing that kind of business model. But that's why I don't do that. That's why I do online arbitrage, where I'm already selling other brands' products, and all of these products already sell really well and they have huge companies behind them. So, you know, it's basically impossible for me to make a loss on these products. And it's true that saturation is a thing in online arbitrage. You know, if you have 200 people trying to sell the same Dyson vacuum and it only sells 50 times per month, it's not going to be a good situation and people are going to undercut each other, prices are going to go down. But if you just source well and you're not sourcing from these, you know, really well-known sites like Notino and iHerb, and all these other places where every other seller and their mum is looking, you can have really good success. I mean, for example, I've been selling a lot of books lately. I actually just did a YouTube video on it. There might be a link on screen, something like that, to go watch that. All it takes is someone that knows how to source and knows how to source in ways that other people aren't using, and you can have amazing success. It's only ever really the new sellers that are sourcing from the really well-known sites that are the people that end up losing money and bricking listings because they just don't know what they're doing. Experienced sellers like myself are rarely on these really crowded listings with loads of other sellers. We're just able to find products that no one else is really finding, and that means we can just dominate that listing and take all of the sales. And then there's also the operational challenges, right? So you are relying on Amazon, you know? You've not got your own website, your own shop. It's Amazon's customers at the end of the day, Amazon sites, and therefore Amazon makes the rules. And this is a real concern for people. You know, there are so many horror stories online about people getting suspended and Amazon just not really helping them and, you know, them losing their business. But the reality is, it's actually just way more uncommon than you might think. I've been selling on Amazon now for, you know, almost 3 years, and I've never had an issue like this. And I have been in trouble numerous times for, you know, mess ups where I've bought the wrong products, or the supplier's been a little bit dodgy. I mean, I had this whole thing a long time ago with some board games that really did screw me because the supplier sent me fake products and I didn't even think that they were fake. I mean, it never even came across to me that, oh damn, okay, fake board games are a thing. And mistakes can happen like that. But the reality is, as long as you're not kind of actively being malicious and you're not just selling 100% counterfeit products, you're probably gonna be fine. Even if you do mess up every now and then, as long as you're buying from legit UK retailers and you have VAT invoices and you stick to those rules, you will be fine. A lot of the time when people like to talk about account suspensions and they say about how, oh, Amazon suspended me for no reason, and they're making some big kind of sob story on social media, there's a good chance they actually did break the rules and they're just kind of not telling the full story. And there are always other operational challenges as well. For example, Amazon fulfilling all your orders is both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, you don't have to own a warehouse, you don't have to worry about shipping orders every day, you just send all your stuff in a box, you send it to Amazon, and they deal with the rest. They deal with the customer service, they deal with the returns. It's a really low effort way of running an e-commerce business. But the downsides to that are you just have to trust Amazon with your stock. Sometimes they'll lose and break stuff. And though they do reimburse you, sometimes as of late, as of recent policy changes, these reimbursements can be a little bit on the lower side. There's a real pain when you've spent ages scouring the internet for products and you send them in expecting to make a really good profit, and then Amazon lose them and then they just give you what you paid for them, which is, you know, it's better than them just completely going missing and you having to take the loss. But it's a great shame that they no longer give you the profit you would have made on top. But it would be the exact exact same if I was fulfilling orders myself. If Royal Mail lost the parcel on the way to the customer, there's a good chance they're only going to pay exactly what I pay for the product, if not less. So overall, I do think Amazon FBA is still the best method of fulfilling orders on Amazon. And then there's the Amazon fees. So I always see people talking about this. Oh, you're claiming you make X amount in profit, but what about the Amazon fees? All the figures that you see me post online, whether it's on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or elsewhere, it always includes the Amazon fees. And I always account for the Amazon fees whenever I'm looking at buying a product and checking if I'm actually going to make any profit. Profit Go is a tool that I use to check all my listings. I used to use SellerAmp SaaS, but to be honest, it's just kind of fallen a little bit behind lately. Profit Go is way more accurate, and this software tells you exactly the fees that you will get when you're selling an item on Amazon, and it will break down the exact amount of profit that you will get when you sell that item, accounting for all those fees, all the shipping, every other cost in the business. And that ensures that every single item you buy, you know you're going to make a really strong profit even with those fees. Just to give you guys a rough scale of the Amazon fees, last month I did £44,000 in profit, and in that same time I paid £33,000 in fees. So I'm almost paying as much in fees as I am making in profit, but it's all accounted for. You know, that profit is after those fees. You know, I'm not making 44 minus 33, so it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's all accounted for. It's part of the cost of the business, and I don't buy anything without factoring in those Amazon fees. If you are much more interested in the exact breakdown of my kind of net profit figures though, go check out my other video. There'll hopefully be a link on screen or something like that. And in that video, I break down exactly how much I actually make with Amazon FBA. So now we've covered kind of the reasons why you might not want to start an Amazon business. Let's talk about why you should start an Amazon business. So Amazon is the biggest marketplace in the entirety of the UK, only second to Tesco. And they actually get twice as many sales as Tesco, so there is a big gap between these companies. The scaling potential with Amazon is absolutely huge. I mean, me myself, right, I've been selling on Amazon for less than 3 years. From, you know, month six of my Amazon business, I made £10,000. And then fast forward less than 3 years later, and I'm consistently doing, you know, 30 to 50k profit in a single month. There honestly seems to be no ceiling to my business model so far. I've got mentorship students doing like 60, 65k profit in a month. I myself are doing crazy numbers, and I've got numerous other people that are doing really, really good numbers. Really, the only limit with this model seems to be how much money can you put in to buy as much stock as possible. The more stock you can buy, the more stock you can sell, and hence the more profit you can make. It's as simple as that. There are also loads of ways to outsource different tasks of the business. You can hire VAs in the Philippines. There are so many different bits of software you can use to automate various tasks, and it's really easy in a short space of time to get to my point where you've basically outsourced everything except the actual purchasing, and all you've got to do is just buy the stock, send it to someone else's warehouse, and hopefully you never have to think about it again. And the flexibility and the freedom that Amazon offers is just, you know, it's incredible. I've literally just got back from having 5 weeks in Thailand where I was working some of the time, but most of the time just kind of relaxing. And I can just do that because I've got these people in the Philippines running my business for me. I've got staff in the UK that are packing up all the boxes, sending off to Amazon. All I had to do whilst I was out there, it was just check my sheet and buy some deals, and that was it. And as long as I just keep buying products, keep sending it to that warehouse, I'm always going to have strong sales figures. And that literally only takes me a few hours a day. So it's really, really possible to just go abroad, travel, and have as much fun as you like whilst running this business once you get to a certain point and you've got those systems in place. This relaxed schedule as well also means that it's really easy to start Amazon FBA as a side hustle alongside your existing 9 to 5. I mean, I've taken on students like Leighton, who has made, you know, really, really good money. He was making about 2k per month in profit, and he was doing all that alongside working a regular 9 to 5, which is probably paying about the same as the side hustle at that point. So what do you actually need to do to start an Amazon FBA business? It's actually way simpler than you might think. So the first step you want to do is just incorporate a company. It's probably the easiest way to get started and kind of separate your business from your personal finances. So start a limited company, make a business bank account, and then get set up with Amazon Seller Central. It's as simple as just signing up through the website. Literally just Google Amazon Seller Central sign up and go through their process. And then there's the inventory cost. So I would say you need about a minimum of £1,000 to get started. You can technically start with less, but it's just gonna be really hard to scale. And at that point, you're probably better doing something else, if I'm really honest. But if you've got about £1,000, I'd say that gives you a really good position to start off. And you want to just be buying as many deals as possible and kind of spreading that capital over a lot of different things to just ensure that if you do kind of mess up at any point and buy the wrong products, it's not going to have a big impact on your capital. And then there's a software cost. So you should be paying about £100 a month, if not less, for software. You're going to want to sign up for Keeper. You're going to want to sign up for Profit Go or Profit Path. Alternatively, there's also SellerAmp SaaS. And then there's also other costs like Seller Central itself costs £30 a month. And then there's other software that's not really essential, but I would kind of recommend, like Seller Toolkit, for example, that kind of tracks your profit and gives you an idea for where your business is at and what your fast selling products are. And this data can be really useful for kind of homing in on your craft and getting really good at buying the right products. Now, if you're looking to start an Amazon FBA business and you're completely new to this, I actually have a really interesting offer for you. So if you've watched my videos before, you know that I run a paid mentorship program, but this is not that. I'm actually offering an opportunity for you guys where I will help you set up your Amazon account. I'll help you set up your limited company. I'll get you set up with a business bank. I'll even give you your first supplier and your first profitable product. So I will literally give everything to you on a plate. I'll give you absolutely everything you need to know to get that first sale on Amazon and make your first bit of profit to prove to you that this business model is legit, and then give you some more steps on scaling. And I'm going to do all of this completely for free. So if you check the link at the top of the video description, you'll be able to join my free Discord server, Live Cops. And in there, you'll be able to join and straight away just start talking to me and the other staff in the server, and we'll get you set up with everything you need to do to start your Amazon FBA business. This is something that I've never offered before, and if you're on the fence about starting an Amazon FBA business, this is exactly what you need to kind of get started. It really cannot get simpler than me literally giving you your first profitable product to sell and giving you a supplier to use for more profitable products in the future. So if that interests you, make sure to head down to the video description or scan the QR code on screen now, and I'll get you set up with everything you need to know. So now you've got your new Amazon Seller Central account, you've got your first profitable product to sell, and you've got your new supplier contact that I've just given you. Now the next steps are to continue scaling that business. You want to really work on sourcing, so you want to be doing some storefront sourcing, some manual sourcing, maybe even using a bit of Keeper Product Finder to just try and find some new products to sell. Out of those three, storefront sourcing is probably the easiest for beginners to get started with. It's really simple. It's just a case of looking at your competitors and kind of copying what they're doing, and I've got a few videos on my channel showing you exactly how to do so. Then you're going to want to ungate brands. So ungating is basically the process of getting approved to sell certain brands on Amazon. So you have to go through an approval process to sell some brands on Amazon. You know, not everyone can just sign up and straight away start selling Samsung and Sony and other brands like that. But it's actually not as hard as you might think. All you need is an invoice with your name on it that shows that you bought 10 units of a product from that brand. And again, I've got a whole video dedicated just to ungating that you can go watch on my channel. And then there's the case of prepping your items. So prep refers to the process of just like labeling your items, putting them in a box and sending them off to Amazon. It's pretty simple, and if you can do it, like if you don't live on some top floor flat or you're not at work all day, it's not a bad idea to just do it yourself from the start until it gets to a point where it's not really manageable. But at any point, even straight from the beginning, you can always look into a prep center. This is the same thing that I use, you know, this warehouse where I just send all my products to the warehouse and their staff deal with the rest. And you just pay per unit. Usually the standard is about 50p per unit you're paying. So the actual cost it adds to your business is really minimal compared to the profit you should be making on all of these items. And it just means you can spend that time sourcing and furthering your business and not just kind of packing boxes. Because though it's fun at first, it gets really boring really quick, I can't lie. And there definitely comes a point where you're just so sick of it and your living room's full of boxes and you just never want to kind of do that again. So along with that, you also just want to be reinvesting every single penny you make back into the business. You can't go crazy and just start spending like you're rich all of a sudden, because that's just not the way to grow a business. You have to keep every penny in it compounding, because that's just how Amazon works. You know, you're on average making about a 10% return on your money every single month. And if, you know, simple maths is compound interest, you know, if you keep all that money in the business doing that 10% a month, you're going to make a lot of money long term. But if you're pulling money out and you're always stuck with the same £1,000 you started with, you're only ever going to be restricted to making like £100 a month, which is just, you know, it's not great. You know, £100 a month is not, you know, completely life-changing. It's better than nothing, but the reality is you want to keep every penny in that, so you get to the point where you're at my sort of level where you're making thousands, if not tens of thousands a month. So to answer the question in the title, yes, I do believe that Amazon FBA is still worth starting in 2025. And in fact, my faith in Amazon is at an all-time high, and I'm spending more per month on stock than I ever have before as I continue to grow my business. And it's not just me who's had their life changed by Amazon FBA. One of my students, Sam, has been consistently achieving 60k profit months throughout 2025. having started from nothing in 2023. So if you found this video useful and you wanted to scale your own Amazon FBA business, just like Sam has, then I have something for you. I've created a comprehensive coaching program where I'm going to be sharing all of my strategies, all of my systems, and all of my sourcing methods that I've generated me almost 4 million in revenue in the past couple of years. It includes 12 hours of one-to-one calls, regular group sessions, exclusive product leads, a 10-hour video course, and so much more. And I'm constantly improving the group month on month, adding new things which you won't see anywhere else in the Amazon FBA scene. So if that sounds like the sort of thing that you need to kickstart your Amazon FBA business, then head down to the description and click the link to book in a free discovery call with me, where we'll be going over your current situation and figuring out exactly where you're at and if I can help you out. Finally, make sure to like and subscribe if you found this video useful, and make sure to click up here to watch my video on the best beginner strategies for people starting out with Amazon FBA from scratch.